Hi guys, it's me. Hope you're well. Obviously got to ask that.
Dumbass.
If you're new here, I make videos on Mondays and Thursdays about the funny side of life with anxiety and depression. And today, I'm going to be talking about passive-aggressive behaviour.
Okay, what?
Now, you may or may not know what that is, so let me just briefly explain what it is. In simple terms, passive-aggressive behaviour is essentially when someone appears to be doing something nice and friendly and that kind of thing, but actually they're doing something underhanded and possibly nasty. So something horrible is disguised as something nice. But there are a number of different behaviours and different things and aspects to passive-aggressive behaviour that I want to talk about today, because you may recognise some of these in your life. You may recognise that you do some of them. I know I have, which is worrying. But the main thing is realising what they are and then recognising when other people do them, so you can maybe see and understand the situation better and see maybe if there is an ulterior motive to what they're trying to do. So let's crack on and get on with it.
This is a very special place.
So the first one is making backhanded comments. So what does that mean? So if you buy a new house, the comment from the other person might be, oh, this is a wonderful starter home. Say it's great, but there's that little dig, that little sort of put down as well. So it's like, that's what... Oh. Or if you do well at something, well done for you. And that's that little... dig at the end. So it starts off as a compliment, but then there's that small punch that just sort of makes you feel a bit, oh, okay. It's a horrible thing to do, because why bother saying anything? I mean, the classic thing is if you've got nothing nice to say... The classic quote is, if you've got nothing nice to say, then say nothing.
I would have done the same thing.
People just feel the need to put people down, and rather than just be bluntly horrible and say,
no, that's a horrible house, or no, that's a disgusting dress, I don't like it.
It's a way of getting that nastiness in, but it's sort of being dressed up as a compliment. So that backhanded compliment is one classic example of passive-aggressive behaviour.
All right.
Now, one that kind of surprised me a bit, but I suppose it's the same idea, is procrastinating and not really finishing tasks. So an example of this would be not putting the dishes in the dishwasher, leaving them in the sink when you know fully well that they need to go in the dishwasher. You carry them to the sink, but rather than put them in the dishwasher, you leave them in the sink.
Must have got confused.
Now, sometimes this behaviour is actually subconscious and it's not an active, conscious thought, but the very fact that people are doing it, there is that passive-aggressive nature that will allow them to do this without consciously thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Another example is saying you're going to go somewhere when ultimately you've got no intention of ever going, and at the very last minute, then back out, find some excuse, and not go. Whilst that may not obviously be passive-aggressive, it's not really taking into consideration the other person's feelings, or the fact that they may have gone to some degree of effort to put on something or arrange something or whatever it may be.
What are you doing?
You don't want to say no, you say,
Okay, yeah, I'll do that, yes.
and then at the very last minute, don't turn up or don't do the thing that you said you was going to do. So it's that failing to follow through with a task or procrastinating so much that it actually has an effect on the other person when basically you had no intention of doing it all along.
No, sir, I don't like it.
Really, another one which I didn't also realise is not letting things go and almost keeping score. For example, you're having a party.
Sweet.
And then you won't invite someone because they said something perhaps a bit against you or a bit nasty ages, months, years ago, and it's completely dead and buried, but you just hold on to that small thing, you hold that grudge and you keep score. They did that wrong to me, so I'm not going to invite them to that because of that thing, and you've kept that score that they messed you up, they screwed you over ages ago.
Let it go.
People do naturally keep things in their mind thinking that person messed me about before, so I'm not really going to make much of an effort for them again. That's human nature, but it's this specific holding on to a grudge or something tiny that was so long ago and so forgotten about, probably by everyone involved.
And that's for true.
And yet you keep that and you make a note of it, and therefore you're not going to do something because then you not doing that will then make you equal for that person doing that ages ago. This also happens within relationships. Maybe you've not done something or you've upset your partner, maybe been completely unaware of it. Ages after, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
The classic I'm fine. There's clearly something bothering them and something annoying them, but
No, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. No, everything's all good.
And it's so obvious by their tone, facial expressions, body language, that there's something there. It's not something you've done recently, it's something that was done a while ago, and that person is just
Keeping that score, keeping that grudge going.
rather than discuss it, get it out the open, and it's dead and buried. That keeping a grudge, not letting things go and keeping score of all the things against you so you can then do things against that person, is another huge sign of passive-aggressive behaviour.
Ridiculous.
Now, all of these things can have such an effect on your mental health if you're in a particular situation, because it can affect depression or anxiety. And if any of these situations do arise and you need some help, I thoroughly recommend BetterHelp. They've got an online service, one-to-one therapy, and an app. And if you enter the code DAZHANDS, you'll get 10% off. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out.
Mighty good.
A classic passive-aggressive behaviour trait is saying no when you mean yes, and vice versa. And it's sort of similar to what I said before, whereby you'll agree to do something knowing full well you're not going to do it at all.
Wait, what?
It's saying, yeah, I'm a nice person, I'll help you out, not a problem. And then whatever the reason is, you don't do that thing. Either you forgot, car broke down, cat was sick, or some bullshit excuse. It's ultimately letting the person down at the last minute, and that person could have been relying on you for a lift or for help or whatever it may be. And it could be at work as well. You say, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then you don't, and then some excuse, oh, the system crashed, or this person did something else, or whatever bullshit excuse you come up with, but the end result is the same. The thing's not done, and you said you were going to do it.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if a real emergency comes up, or a real thing stops you from doing it, that's obvious. But often you can tell it's a bullshit excuse. The way you say, you're not remorseful about not being able to do it, you just say the excuse, and you're out of there, and that person's left having to do the thing themselves or struggle with something or whatever the thing they needed you to help them with. And it's a horrible, horrible thing to do to people.
I don't really feel like it.
Pretending not to understand is another one. Now, I didn't know this. In my research, I found this out. Someone's trying to explain something or ask you to do something. So as far as they're concerned, you're paying attention, you're listening, you're taking it in of all the steps of how this thing needs to be done. You're engaged and you're going to be helping and you're going to be doing something. But all along, you can't be bothered. You don't want to do it and you're basically not going to do it. So you pretend that you're not understanding it, you don't get it, and you just can't get to grips with the instructions or whatever it is.
I just wanted to apologise.
The person gets the idea that you're going to do something or you're going to help, and ultimately they don't get that help, they don't get anything. So again, it's being nice, but then it's meant ultimately in a bad way because you're not going to do it, you had no intention, but you're pretending that you're not understanding it.
It doesn't really work like that.
And now, one of the most annoying, in my opinion, and one that absolutely fucking does my head in completely, is the asking instead of telling. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. There seems to be sometimes a difficulty with people to be open and honest and ask for things. Now, obviously, there's ways of asking. There's a polite way, or there's a nasty sort of ordering way. Do that, or would you mind doing that?
I didn't even ask.
There are certainly ways of asking people to do things that aren't confrontational. And particularly in a situation with management and staff, that sort of thing, where there is a hierarchy and there is a degree of understanding that management would ask the staff to do things. But there always seems to be some difficulty in asking for things. And so rather than ask, will you do this? Are you ready to do this? Or how long will you be before you're ready to do this? So you can give the answer,
Oh, I'm ready now, or give me 5 more minutes to finish this and then I'll be ready.
instead of asking that, what's asked are things like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Is everything alright? I mean, the answer to that is, yeah, I'm fine, I'm lovely, thank you, thanks for asking. It's no relation to them wanting you to do something.
Dumbest people!
It's a passive-aggressive thing because it's implied. It means, can you do this thing? Without actually asking it. So it's all very nicey and friendly and lovely, but there's actually that, get your ass in gear and do this thing. Why don't you just ask me?
Are you ready to do this? Can you do this, please? Would you mind doing this, please?
All perfectly reasonable, friendly, acceptable questions, but no.
How are you doing there? Is everything okay?
I know what you mean by that. You know what you mean by that. Why don't you just ask the question, can you do this?
I don't know.
Because it's less confrontational, but it's so fucking passive-aggressive. Just drive me up the wall. Because they just push anxiety levels up in me, because obviously I deal with that, and it's just unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary, and you know, it's laughable that people do that. But I'm sure you recognise this in your life, your work life, friend life. Passive aggressive behaviour is so unnecessary, yet it exists in so many areas of life and so many people, and it's such a shame, because if people were open, honest, and just ask questions in a polite way, boom, we're laughing. Point gets across, everyone's friendly, everyone's clear on what everyone wants, everyone just gets on with it. Nothing wrong with being direct, as long as you're friendly and polite. Simple as that. Comment below if you've experienced any of these, or if any of these ring any bells with anyone you know, because I think you'll be surprised how many you probably have experienced. And if you like the video, don't forget to just tickle that little like button. Don't smash it, just tickle it. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to do that down here. Watch my other video up here. And remember, don't let people wind you up. Rise above it. Laugh at life, because most of the time it's fucking ridiculous. On that note, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.